some one of the guys at Molesey that I row with, he asked the question in terms of you've had such a successful career, but he kind of focused on, you know, looking back and some of the errors that you might have made or some of the mistakes and what you might have learned from them in your coaching career.
I was thinking that because you asked me earlier. Of course, I'm sure there were mistakes, but what was always my aim, and we just discussed it at the beginning, and that's why I said also to athletes, on the way to Olympics I always saw as a highlight. That is every athlete's highlight. Yeah, if you miss the World Championships, okay, you can do it next year again. But if you miss 4 years, that's hard. So, and so far I can say, okay, I won most time gold every time I was in charge of a crew. I made everything right, and the bronze medal, and of course that was in very young ages when I learned in 72 the single.
Yeah,
that was fantastic, and of course every result is fantastic. You know, you have different athletes. And in 2080, I think 1980, the bronze medal on side with a gold medal in the Cox pair. That was very special for that athlete and was great. And with big respect to him, it's not disappointment. But so far, yeah, would be, as I said, it's those small things. We didn't get it right to the World Championships in 2019 between the heat and the final.
Yeah.
We didn't get it right in 2000 in Lucerne.
Yeah.
Okay, with the 4, you know, going to the World Champion to the Olympic Games. Big pressure. But I think we discussed it before. In the 4, we go to Lucerne. Okay, if the conditions are right, we want to do a new record, because the record was being done, a course record, you know, was done by the Norwegians. So, who's a Norwegian? With all respect to every athlete, has to be done. So we did Henley, and we really pushing on. But I think I overdid it. We won the semi-final, and there was nothing left in the final. So we came 5th. There was big pressure. You know, then going the last race before the Olympics, and that was a very special Olympics. Steve Redgrave going for the 5th gold, Matthew Pinson going for the 3rd Olympic gold, and then the other 2, they looked at them and said, okay, we go for our first one. There was all that pressure, you know, and then coming to Australia, our boat wasn't there. So we trained in a different boat in our preparation camp. Then, okay, we used new blades. So there was, yeah, that's the pressure. But end of the day, we never lost focus. We believe what we're doing. We had the confidence what we're doing. We know what we did before. And we've been, yeah, just always, anyway. That's why I'm saying that's those small things in Lucerne where I made the mistake, but we didn't get it right. So we just, because I was honest enough also to the athletes. I was running to the prize given because they had to stay there. We being the World Cup winner overall.
Yeah.
Normally, as the 5th place, you go home. You're not going to the landing stage, but we had to go. I was running there before the final. I just say, guys, it's my mistake. I know why we lost. So I think that's those things, yeah. But that's why I think also how I'm working. I can be critical to myself, and not and that's maybe the message for coaches: not delegate always. If of course, as coach, you have to be clear. If the athletes win, it's their fault. If they lose, it's the coach's fault. That's fine. That's great. The athlete is the number one person. It's not do it just for my personal ego. I have a job to do. I want to help young people, but then I think I have to be also honest. Okay, but if I make a mistake, I'm not saying okay, or I'm fine. He's mentally not good or whatever. That's so I don't like that.
Yeah, do you think that you talked about Steve Redgrave's 5th Olympic gold medal and the pressure, the special pressure that brought, and I think of that race and the Italians. Do you think your crew won that race by enough, or do you think they should have won by more?
No. Then you can take 2004 as well.
We're going to come to that, Jürgen.
I think, Roy is all about winning. And I think we had that race well under control. Of course, with all the problems, I think we went to the course already 4 o'clock in the morning because with Tim Foster, he had back problems. So we always was scared and he needs enough warm up. So the whole crew been there very early. So, okay, there was a lot of pressure. Will his back be good enough to hold up? Steve, with all his problems in between 97 to 2000, with his diabetes, then injury, then with some small things. But I think, we managed that very well. But there was a big pressure. Steve, I'm sure he would survive after he said already 1996, you will never see me in a boat anymore.
What did you think when you heard
he had it for? But the biggest thing was, and I know that from 92 with Matthew, when we had the problem with Steve, and we identified his colitis, when we couldn't race in Lucerne, we couldn't train, we had to listen to the medics to make the right decision and building things up. Matthew was in the same situation. Hi, coach, what's going on? Yeah. I want to win something. What are we doing? Where's the plan B? So, and that is absolutely fair from an athlete. The athlete should ask questions, and of course, then you have to good answer, and not because you being on one side of the other. Without Steve is not possible. I'm not saying that, but I think it was still. So I just think that's all those situations to manage. And even from 2015, Andy Hodge was not in.
Yeah,
he won the World Championships. He won the Olympics. 2 Olympics, and won the 8 and 13. Won the 4, and there was that was a good win, you would say, maybe over 3 seconds, a comfortable win in Amsterdam. And then he was ill, didn't row in 2015, took a long time to bring him back, to give him confidence, back. But then, as an athlete, as a coach, yes, he is a good athlete, but still he had to race for his seat. He didn't get a gift because he did something well in the past. That was the same to Konstantin Leonudis, very talented athlete, but he had to fight and maybe did more seat races than other people to justify it to everybody in the team. Yes, it's honest enough, I'm in.
With you mentioned Steve Redgrave and his illness problems. I know he wrote, that on maybe 1 or 2 occasions he went to you and said, "You need to drop me from the crew. I'm not in shape." How close did you come to thinking that you would have to drop Steve from that 4 and find somebody to replace him?
Okay, and one way, as a coach, you have to be, as a good athlete, never ever give up. So and so far I didn't give up on him. Of course, that was a really, we called this, we had 1999 St. Catherine's, we had
You won by miles.
we won by miles without Tim Foster and with Ed Coote, you know, and also really good for, and it was just so. This was just yesterday, and you know, if somebody is ill, he doesn't lose overnight everything. You have to have confidence, give people time, you know, even, and that is a very fine line. Okay, and all the parameter he did was not out of sync. Okay, he was maybe not top on the page in every performance parameter, but what he was a tower in that boat on the end of the day, with all his experience, with his, you know, honestly, how he approached things, you know, it's exactly what you said. Yes, he questioned Mark himself when we ran a Cox's 5 through the winter and in the first place, of course, we always said between Tim, he should have a fair trial. He served that project so well, you know, and then he served in 1999 when he said, okay, if you're not taking me in the 4, I don't know if I want to row in that 8. So we had a good gentleman agreement if we helped him with that 8, because we didn't win a medal in that 8 before, because I know he can do it, and he was nearly there physically. Of course, you will get your chance. It was a fair chance. It was nothing, okay, now here's a gift. So he had to trial against Ed. So yeah, that's why I think, and of course, and Steve came in and he didn't feel well in January and really struggling a little bit. You should question mark me. So okay, I know him by then so long, 10 years, been with him every day. So okay, come on, let's go. Of course, we came third in the trials when he was always first, but it was not out of any selection. So I just say, at the end of the day, he really won his medal. It was not a gift medal or whatever. Yeah. He won his medal. I'm sure.
But
anyway.
That's really interesting to listen to, Jürgen. I know when we talked before, you asked me which was the 1 year you didn't win a gold medal with the British team, and it came down to 2003 with the pair with James Cracknell and Matthew Pinsent. When you look back at that year, what were the mistakes that you made there? Why didn't the pair work as a pair? Because it was a big decision for you to change the pair into a 4 for Athens in 2004.
I think the big decision was first, James changed side. He's one of the few athletes I know has an Olympic gold medal on bow side and on stroke side. So he changed after 2000 because he wants to row with Matthew. And I must say, he made a big effort. You know, he jumped in to London Rowing Club to go in the rowing tank without telling me, and running around everywhere to have enough practice to change side. I would say James is a fantastic athlete, really an athlete. Okay, the different, but sometimes if we hook in well, what we did was straight away in 2001 and 2013, if he hooks in with the first stroke, then it's fine. But as soon something comes a little bit different, his skills wasn't done and he wasn't confident enough to make changes. So if he hooked in with the first stroke, first 10 strokes, then, you know, physically and so, and attitude, absolutely perfect. But that was his problem. And especially then in a pair is not just power and things. You still have the feeling. Of course, if you have the power, it's great, but you have to have the feeling as well and make some changes. Matthew was always okay, he has lungs like a horse. He just, okay, you follow me or not? He couldn't, and he did that brilliantly. So and so far, and that was a little bit again where James also in himself was always a little bit nervous. Can he get that right? They were still our best player, and I think in interest of British rowing, I know that was a hard decision. Okay, that's 4-1 silver in
2003.
2003, and then fine announcing in the autumn. Okay, we had no gold medal. We had a bronze medal in the 8, if you remember.
Yes.
So, and okay, a silver medal in the Cox 4, but that was not Olympic anymore. So we had good athletes. I announced, okay, and they came from the 4, was fair enough. Then finally tried in a pair. Cox pair, if there was a Cox pair, would be great. Then James could just row. He wouldn't have the problems,
Yeah.
So said he, without changing side again, okay, in a bigger boat, he can has a bigger effect. And I think before that Australian pair was okay, it was also a top boat, no question, fine. But then you have to make as not again. It looks like, okay, he makes what I want, but it was also a decision for British rowing, knowing in the same time. And the opposition was Mike Sparklin with the Canadian Cox's 4. He won that World Championships. Okay, it's not just, you jump over coming from one horse to the next horse. It was not easy. It was a big decision. But in interest, I was confident we can win the 4 again. We can beat that Canadian 4. Okay, what we did. Very small margin, but I know that is better especially also for James.
Yeah.
So that's why, that's what we did.
With later on in your coaching career, you had the pair of Andy Hodge and Pete Reed, and for 3 years you battled against the New Zealanders. Why did you keep them so long in the pair before changing to the 4? And
was the same thing. An interest erstmal for them to do something different, make them stronger, make them ready for the next job. I was also fine after they won all the national trials. And I always ask the winning pair or the winning single, they have the right to put their hand up and say, okay, can we try the pair? Then I can discuss, okay, I can give them good advice, what is good for them and what's good for British rowing. So that was the time, okay, we were confident, okay, let's do it. But no question, with that New Zealand pair, in the summer we didn't do so bad, and we were very close in New Zealand maybe to beat them a year before the Olympic. But credit though, and we know that we have seen it, they were outstanding pair.
Yeah.
We were outstanding pair, but we couldn't. They were always a little bit better, and it was the same situation again in 2012. Okay, we didn't win anything. Come on, then where you put your best people, and that's was the situation there, without losing all the others. And I think,
yeah. One of the things about you, Jürgen, is that you instill tremendous confidence in your athletes that they can win an Olympic gold medal when it matters, even if the results haven't gone their way before. What is it about you as a coach that you're able to do that your crews seem to always perform when it matters. Do you have, what kind of magic formula do you have as a coach that makes that, you know, gold medal success happen?
Okay, I mean, of course, and in one way, over the years, of course, athletes trusting me, and that's great. But there's also, yeah, something big on the shoulder if they always, okay, Jürgen will do it. Of course, they have to do it, not me. But I think I never say you must win, because that will not work. I think I always allow also in the run-up, we can make mistakes, but we are addressing the mistakes then also in a very critical way, you know, or not carry that forever. And when we're working it, if it's a mistake also is in the system of our training, then of course it's down to me. Was it a mistake, a technical mistake or whatever? Of course, and we have to work on that as well. So it's always a combination. Yeah, training, I would always say, is a key thing. If we take the races in 2012, I think in Munich,
yeah,
okay, we were ready. I think it was the first time. Then we raced the Australians.
yeah.
So they came over. We were I think we were good prepared, but I think we were mentally not good enough prepared. If you looked at the race, if I remember right, yeah, we were just, our skills, we lost everything. We were just too fiddly, high in rate,
Yeah,
no efficiency, big fight, big heart was there from the guys all the way through. We've been dropped on the finish already, so we put a big effort in to level up to a point around 1,000 meter, but that took so a lot of energy, and so physically strong guys going with a weight so high. I think, you know, even the strongest horse, we'd be not efficient having the right ratio between weight and distance per stroke. I think was absolutely not right for all different reasons. Maybe, yeah, in the first place, that's not what we trained, right? Mentally, they want to do it very well, and you see it very often. If then people being over motivated, then things going right. So insofar, we didn't get that totally right, and that's something we analyzed afterwards. Again, together, not putting it one way, because there was a lot of good elements I could see what we could repair in the last 7 weeks or 8 weeks to the Olympics.
And again, I remember seeing you in 2016 with the British 8, who had not performed very well in the World Cups, and it was in Poznan on the World Cup, and you had the 8 on the bank there, and you were like this, talking to the guys. You had to turn around the performance of that 8 again, didn't you, to win in Rio?
Yeah. Okay, you know, as I said, especially the last Olympiad from 2013 to 16, okay, we always changed to develop more athletes, motivate more athletes, making the next step, and really was always in our mind. But I was always hoping also with the sculling to win more better colored medals than 2012. We changed every year for 8 as a first boat, 4 as the next boat, and was a 4 as the first boat, the 8 was the second boat, and was again to qualify. The 8 was the first boat, and the 4 was the second boat. And then coming to the end, okay, that was already discussed with the athletes, especially with the key athlete. Then coming to the 4 again, and especially that 8, of course, we had to change also the order. And in Poznan, I think then we had the right order. We tried something with Andy Hodge after he hasn't rowed a year. First, he had to come mentally right again first. He was the top strokeman in all those years. He was not in the stroke seat anymore. He finished the World Championships in Amsterdam with a top result, stroking that boat fantastic. Being a year out and coming back, we tried him in a 6th seat, didn't quite work. Okay, so before we find a fine setup, integrating also the new athletes, and we still, took a little bit time. And in Poznan was a breakthrough. We had a good race against the Germans there, and it was very important. That gave me, we know where we had our weakness. And if you look, we won every 500 meter. I think the first one was the Germans, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
But in the middle part, we had a very, very strong, and then we had a good margin. I wouldn't count the last one so much. I think they were maybe already 250 to go. Okay, no way they will get us. And then, of course, people, doesn't matter, as I said, if you win by so much or so much, that doesn't count.
Jürgen, one of the things about your program was that every Olympiad you made the program tougher, or you maybe increased. Maybe I've not got that right, or you increased the volume. I mean, how close did you get to what the maximum volume or intensity that an athlete could take? How close were you to that limit on your program?
Okay, I mean, you see it every time what human can do, and so far, it's not a total competition, and just volume. And you would say in normal days, a day has 24 hours, 12 hours daytime, 12-hour nighttime, and you fill it totally out, and you're looking for the 25th hour. So I think there has to be a good balance. I think you have to make sure there is a good amount of specific training that can be from time to time through the winter, maybe a little bit more to the ergo and water training, depends on condition. There has to be a good amount of weight training. I believe in weight training to have to really developing the local muscle groups better, and that's people can cope a lot better with that. And I think it's also important. I think more and more athletic people are, how we selecting athletes. It's always very often, it's a big guy, maybe a little bit clumsy, being in their physical education, always those ones sitting on side because they didn't fit in a football team or whatever. So we did a lot of things there. So they're learning more skills, learning more about their body and how they move their body. I think is quite important. Sounds so easy. So we do a lot of cross training, I would say, Martin.
Yeah.
As an important part. And then with that momentum going, I think the key thing is then, the quality. I see it a little bit. I've been growing up in a time when rowing changed mainly from the interval training to the endurance training.
Yeah.
So, in the Adams time, it was, I know also when I arrived here, I know Steve's training from Mike. Stuff I have never seen that before. So I know I can remember with Steve when we went to the first regatta was, I think, in 91 was Essen. I think so.
Yes.
Jürgen, weekend is regatta. We haven't done any pieces or whatever. You would. So Steve, so I think I'd be growing up in that time and learned a lot how that works, and having the right. And now it's a combination between endurance training and a lot of elements of interval training. So then becomes the volume or spend the time will be sometimes not bigger. But, you have to have I think, a good balance. And that's why I tried in 50 years. And nobody could tell me any better. Of course, you had always people, you can do something for a year.
Yeah.
But as I said, I'm very proud to have athletes. One athlete, worked for 4 Olympiads and 4 Olympic gold medals. And I had 3 athletes winning 3 Olympic gold medals. And I'm many athletes winning at least 2.
Yeah.
Mainly they stopped because they could cope with the training load. They could maintain it and still succeed and going faster over quite a long time.
It must have been hard to see athletes that weren't able to, cope with the training load that broke down. I know one of the camps that is so tough is that Sierra Nevada camp where you go up and people talk about it as legendary. It is so tough and so hard. I mean, why do you make those camps as hard as you do?
Okay, that is a very special camp. I think Sierra Nevada is a cross camp. It's mainly an indoor camp, I think, and it's in high altitude. It's 2,300 meters. So that is a mega challenge anyway. I think, no question that you see it in a high performance sport. In that environment, I don't think so we go totally over the top, but already the altitude puts a big demand on the body if you want to have in a lower intensity at least the same scores as you have on sea level.
Mm.
That's really, it's very tough. But I think that's so a camp with every top athlete should find out sometimes under the so extreme, still natural situation. It's not going in the chamber or whatever, a natural environment to find out a little bit more about himself, and pacing things right. We're not saying, okay, that some of them we have to pull back, because when you come up there, you feel very good, very strong, and then, but 14 days is long, or 16 days. So but it's still, I think I try still to steer, not seeing people breaking down. That's not good coaching. Still, also for me, to learn to handle athletes so they can finish the camp, successful without having a break in the middle because they break down. That's shit coaching from my point of view. Sorry to say that word. That is also, so you learn also a lot as a coach. And that means not, if the scores are a little bit different, but he finished a camp can be as successful as some other people. So it's not drawing the lines there, but to manage it, see how they work and cope with the situation and the environment.
Yeah.